March 7, 2023, 6 p.m. Calling for order, and please, everyone, join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Supervisor Aliaga.
Here.
Clerk Newbeck here. Treasurer Brown.
Here.
Trustee Morocco.
Here.
Trustee Nalamothu. Here. Trustee Ritchie.
Here.
And Trustee Stoyan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Good. And before we approve the agenda, I think we need to add,
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda by amending it by adding item M1, closed session to discuss a confidential legal opinion pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268H and 15.2431G.
Support.
okay, motion have made and support by Trustee Morocco. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. We have board public announcement. Board members or individuals in the audience may make a statement containing information about recent or oncoming event. Any oncoming event? Any board members? No? Carrie?
Just wanted to make a comment that the township has several part-time and seasonal positions available. They're posted on our website. So if you know somebody who would look for some part-time or seasonal work, have them check it out. And that's all I have.
Okay. Any other board member? Anyone? No? I would like to say a few more words. I want to thank Clerk Newbeck and Treasurer Brown and Sam Morocco that they have been helped me a lot last week, and this week we have been working really hard for our community, and I want to thank you again for your help.
Happy to help.
Any public comments? Any items that no appear in this agenda that someone that would like to say any words? Anyone on maybe online that would like to address anything to the board? No? Anyone in the public? Any board member? No? Okay. Moving on. Presentations and report. Chief Bichet, would you like to come to the podium, please?
Alrighty. Well, good evening, and thank you to all the elected officials, firefighters, family, and friends that are here tonight to recognize and support the promotion of Lieutenant Stamper to shift captain and firefighters Doyen and Upshur to shift lieutenants. The promotion of a firefighter to that of an officer and of a lieutenant to captain is a great moment and honor and pride for all these gentlemen, their families, and Independence Fire. To start, I would like to briefly share what it takes to become an officer in IFD. Interested officer candidates must endure a competitive testing process that includes a written exam, oral interviews conducted by outside fire service professionals, a board of review process that measures and grades each candidate based on their level of formal education, their training and certifications, performance evaluations and work history, discipline and attendance history, and finally, the candidate is reviewed by the fire chief, myself, for their overall capacity and readiness to be promoted to the officer level. The candidate is then placed onto a promotional eligibility list in a descending order based on their scores. Once selected and promoted from the eligibility list, the new officer must serve a 6-month probationary period to ensure that their performance will meet the needs of the position. It's during this time that the new officer is coached and developed to function at the high level expected of an IFD officer. The probationary officer will be required to satisfy several core competencies during this period, such as the ability to lead, supervise, and command a unit of firefighter paramedics, the ability to promote and demand the safe execution of all fire and EMS operations for our personnel and the public, the ability to inspire and teach advanced fire EMS training to our personnel, the ability to perform and promote excellent customer service to all we serve in our community, be able to demonstrate excellent decision-making abilities both in emergencies and non-emergency situations, and finally, the probationary officer must demonstrate their ability to promote and operate within the team concept and ensure the vision and goals of the fire department are being met every day. This evening, the first promotion we'll do is Lieutenant Paramedic Derek Stamper, who's right to my right. Come up here, Derek. Derek has served as a firefighter paramedic the past 10 years, with the last 3 as a shift lieutenant for Independence Fire. He is state certified in Fire Officer 1, 2, and 3. He has an associate's degree and is currently working on his bachelor's degree. He is certified in the Incident Command System. He is a state certified fire instructor and EMS instructor. He has specialized training and certifications in rope rescue, confined space rescue, structural collapse rescue, trench rescue, and marine machine rescue. Additionally, Lieutenant Stamper assists and is involved in our department in the following areas. He represents IFD by serving as a training coordinator for the Oakway Mutual Aid Group. He is a member of the IFD and County Technical Rescue Team. He represents IFD on the County Training Committee. He is a member of the Health, Safety, and Wellness Committee at IFD. He is a member of the Uniform Committee at IFD. And he's a member of the EMS Operation Committee at IFD. Wow, you're busy. So as you can see, Derek has been a very involved officer for our department. You should know that he prides himself in the continuation of learning and encourages others to do the same. He pushes his peers and subordinates to be professional and truly understands how training and teamwork come together for successful outcomes on emergency scenes. Since my arrival a year and a half ago as chief, my experiences and discussions working with Lieutenant Stamper have all been insightful and positive. What has impressed me the most is his great vision on how to improve our department as we move forward. Lieutenant Stamper has many leadership traits and skills that will ensure him to become a very successful leader and captain for our department. Next up. Our next promotion will be firefighter paramedic Tom Doyen. A little bit about Tom. He has served as a firefighter paramedic for IFD for the past 21 years. He's state certified in Fire Officer 1 and 2. He's state certified as a hazardous materials technician. He is state certified as an incident safety officer. He's trained as a fire ground strategy and tactics specialist. He's trained in initial company operations. He is certified as a highway emergency response specialist. Additionally, Firefighter Doyen assists and is involved at our department in the following. He is on the IFD Hazardous Materials Response Team. He's a member of the Fire Truck Design and Build Committee. He manages and maintains all of our air monitoring detection devices. He oversees the purchase, maintenance, and training of our self-contained breathing apparatus. These are the packs you see firefighters wearing on their backs when entering a smoke-charged environment. His expertise and passion to oversee what is considered the most important safety device firefighters use in their execution of fighting fires is not only extraordinary, but also second to none. Everyone at IFD appreciates your efforts in maintaining our SCBAs and ensuring our personnel are safe. You should know that Firefighter Doyen has great expertise and skill sets that allows him to train fellow fighters to be their best. And he is highly respected by firemen of all ranks and myself for his broad range of knowledge of the fire service. Since my arrival a year and a half ago, my experiences and discussions working with Firefighter Doyen have enlightened me to his great passion for the fire service and how proud he is to be an Independence Township firefighter. His 21 years of experience, training, passion, and loyalty to IFD make for a perfect combination of leadership traits you want from a fire lieutenant. However, However, he's not as perfect as I'm guessing most of you are thinking after I gave that little speech. He has one major fault. He's an avid Spartan fan. So, Lieutenant, if you would like to get really promoted tonight, you must say go blue. All righty. Next up, Firefighter Upshur. Okay, we're going to promote Firefighter Upshur to Shift Lieutenant. A little on Mike. He has an associate's degree in firefighter technology. He is state certified in Fire Officer 1. He is state certified as a fire service instructor. He's state certified as a fire inspector 1. He is state certified as an incident safety officer. He is trained as an Ice Rescue 1 specialist. And he has specialized training and certifications in structural collapse, rope rescue, trench rescue, and confined space rescue. Additionally, Firefighter Upshur assists and is involved in our department in the following. He is a member of our uniform committee. He's a member of our health, safety, and wellness committee. He's a member of our recruitment, hire, and retention committee. And he has assisted me in developing a retiree firefighters memorial wall in our fire station. And he's a member of the IFD and county technical rescue team. You should know that Firefighter Upshur is liked and admired by everyone. He has an easygoing, humorous side to him, sometimes a bit too humorous, but all in good nature. Mike is always upbeat, positive, and happy. All great personality traits you want in a leader. If you haven't noticed, he is in great physical shape too. Mike is a great athlete and prides himself with keeping in great physical condition as firefighters need to be. Mike was actually working out right before he came here tonight. He encourages and pushes fellow firefighters to work out and maintain their fitness. Mike developed a program called MICAP? Or Mike's Complacency Avoidance Program for his fellow firefighters. I can't even get it out. Essentially a workout routine that is designed to replicate some of the more strenuous and difficult maneuvers firefighters face doing their jobs. It's Mike's fun way of helping to ensure our personnel stay healthy and safe in the course of their jobs. His ability to be positive, involved, and encouraging to everyone at IFD makes him an easy leader to follow and respect. He's a great candidate to be a lieutenant. As you see, all three of these firefighters have been very active and involved throughout their careers in the preparation to be an officer, and they've set the bar high for others to follow. My experience with all three of them has been nothing but positive. Their promotions this evening will no doubt help IFD become even stronger moving forward. I'm excited for them and IFD. But most importantly, when selecting potential candidates for promotion to that of an officer in IFD, we require they must come in with a great work ethic, have demonstrated a career of great character and integrity, and have conducted themselves in a manner to have established exceptional credibility amongst their peers. With that, I can proudly say that Lieutenant Stamper, Firefighter Doyen, and Firefighter Upshur have successfully met all these expectations and are most deserving of being promoted and sworn in officially to shift captain and shift lieutenants with IFD this evening. The next phase we'll do here is, we'll start with Derek. The new officers will get new badges that will signify their ranking in our department. A captain has 2 bugles on his badge that signifies he's a captain in the fire service. The lieutenant's badge is a single bugle. Lieutenant Moskowitz is going to do the helmet presentation first.
So I'm fortunate enough, I take great pride and honor to be able to present these guys with their helmets. In the fire service, we have a lot of traditions, and one of them is you change colors of your helmets as you move up. When you start off as a probationary new fireman, you actually start with a blue helmet, like Tom Doyen and I did 21 years ago, almost more than 21 years ago. And then you move into a fireman, and you get a black helmet, and then when you get promoted, you get a yellow helmet, and then as a lieutenant, and then as a captain, it becomes a red helmet, and ultimately, you get to wear a white helmet if you decide to become chief. So it's a great honor. It's something that we take a lot of pride in, because not so much the rank, but when we're on scene, I've mentioned this before, at night, when situations, it's a quick way to look up and see somebody that has experience, has leadership, and somebody you can trust and go to them real quick. So it's a great honor for me to be able to present the red helmet, Captain Stanford. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yellow helmet.
Thank you, Lieutenant Moskovic. Next up, Clerk Newbeck will do the swearing in of each. We'll put it right here. We'll do 3 separate.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of
of the office of
Shift Captain
Ship Captain
in and for the Township of Independence,
in and for the Township of Independence,
County of Oakland,
County of
and
Oakland,
State of Michigan,
and State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office
of the office of
Shift Lieutenant
Shift Lieutenant
in and for the Township of Independence,
and for the Township of Independence,
County of Oakland,
County of Oakland,
State of
State
Michigan,
of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to my best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Okay,
Next up.
one more. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
that I support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of
of the office of
Shift Lieutenant
Ship Lieutenant
in and for the Township of Independence,
and for the Township of Independence,
County of Oakland,
County of Oakland,
and State of Michigan,
State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Clerk Newbeck. Next up, we're just going to allow each firefighter a brief moment at the podium, and we'll start with Captain Stamper.
Good evening. I would like to start by thanking the Fire Chief Pichet, and the board for giving us this platform and opportunity for this special occasion this evening. I would next like to thank my beautiful wife Jessica and my sons Grayson and Crew. They are my rock, my drive, and my all. And without their love and sacrifice, I would not have had this opportunity today. I would also like to thank my extended family and friends for their love and support as well, as they are here this evening. Lastly, I would like to thank my brothers and sisters over here for always being there and supporting me, and to know that I will always be there to support them. As I step into this role, I recognize the magnitude of the decisions and actions that I have on our organization as a whole. Because of this, I take this position with great respect and responsibility. I look forward to continuing to empower our firefighters and assisting them with the support and resources necessary to increase their knowledge and skills in order to provide our community with exceptional care and service. Again, I thank you all for this opportunity, and I look forward in providing Independence Township with excellent service as an operational captain. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Township Board. Thank you, Chief Passay, for the kind words right up until the end of the speech for me. Appreciate it. Just like to thank everybody that's here, come out for this occasion for all of us. We've worked hard for this. I'd like to say thank you to all my boys in blue over there. Without their help, I wouldn't be standing here today. They've helped me get along through these 22 years now, whatever it may be. And then absolutely my family, and especially my mom. Strongest woman I know. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her. I love you, Mom. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank the chief and the board for allowing this day to happen. I want to thank my coworkers standing over there, my family, my beautiful wife. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. I look forward to the future and serving as a lieutenant operations for the township. So that's all I have.
Yeah, it's concluded, but we'd like to have a picture with all the firefighters up front here with new officer candidates.
Hey, Matt.
Any of the family or anybody that would like to take pictures, feel free to come on up and take pictures.
Do you guys want to take it with your helmets? So they know which ones are.
Everything in life comes back around.
I know. How about you?
Hey, you gonna call a 5-minute intermission or to let everybody leave, or
Oh, back to business.
maybe Andrew?
Carrie.
Because you shut my budget down.
10 minutes, right? 10?
Yeah, I know, I just said, what time is it? Just so I can write it
5
down.
is plenty.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right, guys. We go for recess for 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Those,
Yeah, take pictures.
all right.
Thank you.
Excuse me, guys. You guys okay?
right.
Very, very, very nice. All right, moving on. We're going for consent agenda. Number 1, request to approve the Board of Trustees regular meeting minutes of February 21st, 2023. 2, request to approve the February 28th, 2023 check run of $292,969.93 and ratify the February 17, 2023 payroll of $299,401.69. 3, request to approve the second reading and adoption of an amendment to the Eagle Ridge and Morgan Lake planned residential development with addition of 4.79 acres of and amend the phase 2 of the development to include 24 single-family homes for purpose of notice publication. That's all on the consent agenda. I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda passed. Okay, we don't have anything removed for consent agenda, so let's go. We moving on to regular business. Okay, we have. Okay, this is about what we actually, I work this with Paul, with Treasurer Brown and Sam. And this is very much something that probably most of you are aware. During the last summer, I was talking with many residents, and we talk about open space and the creation of this community. So what it is basically a lot of people were brought to my attention that they would like to see more green space, more green areas in the township. Trustee Morocco brought a nice presentation to the Planning Commission, where a lot of people came and they brought some input. It was very educational to know and have a good feeling. And it was kind of testing the water too, where people are in the community, what they think about the current development and what's going on, and try to see if we can have some input. So after I see the presentation and what happened last summer, I decided to put this together. I talked to Treasurer Brown, who actually supported this, and Trustee Morocco, and I bring that today to create this, the creation of this board. And I wonder if you have any questions or any concern from the board. I open to the board for any discussion. Treasurer Brown.
So, for me, as I looked at this, and there are quite a few residents who are passionate about this, and I know we've heard from them, over the past year. Really, we've heard from them for the past 10 years. They would come quite often. So I think allowing a voice for those folks to be channeled through a committee like this, I think that's a good thing. For me, I always talk about property rights. And I don't believe it's the intention here to somehow stop people from doing what they're allowed to do. But if you have passionate people like this who can come up with good ideas that can help the township as we develop, and not just that, but for existing properties as well. Something I mentioned was if this is a group that could put together an annual thing to be sent out to all our residents about how they can better green up their properties. And maybe some partnerships can happen between them and the Clarkson Family Farms, where the farm has plantings that can be purchased for that kind of thing. It's a way to help educate residents, and for those reasons, I think it's got value, and again, it lets some residents have a voice, and so I am going to support it.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yep, I just like to comment again.
Sure.
It's a little bit of like what Paul said is one of the things at the presentation that Sam and the group gave, the one night about open space, and some of the we had another meeting at the Safety Path Committee where we talked about finding lands that maybe the township doesn't own, but connecting different pieces of open space for like trailways or walkways, nature walkways and stuff. in the township, would be much more desirable than maybe just having a sidewalk alongside a Dixie Highway or a road, a main road or whatever. So have more of a nature type walk compared to a regular sidewalk or whatever. So I mean, there was good synergy and good communication with other people and other groups at how we, hey, if we could get this one piece of property here, then that would join these other properties. And, the township doesn't necessarily have to own those, but we can work on some right of way or some other ordinances to make it work, for the township and the people in the township. So I think it has a lot of possibilities, and we should, I guess I'm supporting it for that reason as well. So.
Thank you. Trustee Morocco?
Obviously, this is something that I'm very interested in and always have been. I just think that we've talked about it for decades, it's just, as now that I'm on the board and see it, how things go, if you have there's people that are willing to take time to focus on finding ways to preserve open space and make the community better. It's not about not developing, it's about better ways of developing, or just like with the grant, a grant writer, with all the opportunities that have been passed by, there's parcels, there's big parcels that are becoming available or could be potentially available that if we don't have a group working on obtaining them, it just doesn't happen. It's not going to happen on its own. So we've got residents that are passionate about it, that want to participate, take time out of their schedules to do it. I'm happy to work with them. And let them see how far they can take it to put some protections in place, or acquiring property, in conjunction with Blue Heron and the county and us and Dick Carlisle, and him bringing us forward other opportunities and processes that have worked for other communities. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can have somebody really bring us stuff that other people did a lot of legwork and got to work. So we just need a recommending body to offer suggestions, so that that things can actually come to light and happen. And if you don't do it this way, it just seems like we're all busy and it's just not going to happen. So we've got the support, I believe, we've got the enthusiasm right now, so it's a good, it makes sense. Let's see what we can come up with, before, now is a good time. Nothing's getting too crazy, so we got some, hopefully we can spend some time the rest of this year getting a plan together, a consensus, and it's also a master plan year, so that's always a good thing, so I'm excited about it.
Any other, Trustee Nalamatu?
I have one, and mine is more on the money piece, because you do have free services. So I would just say, bring those into consideration too, because you have the MTA and you have SEMCOG, and there are a bunch of communities who have already done a lot of this. That if you can, I know the money says not to exceed the 5,000, but if you could do it for 1,000 because you talked to those communities that are already free or did half the work, that's all I'm saying. I think you should just try and pursue the free stuff that's out there first, and then do this. But I don't know the whole process with Carlisle Wortman and what has to be done, but I don't want you to miss those opportunities, or like you said, reinvent the wheel when it's already been done out there with some communities, like the bike paths and the nature trails. And I think Novi went through something with connecting with another town, some of their parcels already. So they've been through that. So I think it's a great resource for you guys to use and this committee to use.
Great. Yeah. Well, we all agree, that a lot of people in our community are in support. They're supporting to have more green space and some preservation of our community. And my intent is fulfill my promises. And that I agree, I believe in, most of us agree with this, because this is something that people want, our community wants, and that's why I saw that this is the right time to put it there and show the good faith that this board have with our community. Trustee Morales.
So it does. I don't know how it works with. The I'm expecting that at the next, at a future board meeting, that that the supervisor would be bringing names forward for the board, and that would require the clerk to add this committee to the volunteer list on the website, you know, for residents that are interested. And I would encourage residents that are interested in being considered for this board to, you know, to sooner than later, reach out to us and get, you know, fill out an application so that we can assemble the board as soon as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. But let's see, we probably need to get, before we start voting, I would like to know if we have some members of the public who would like to have a comment? No? Anyone online that would like to address any comments? Anyone online? I was actually walking this week and somebody says, Jose, you need to make sure the people online participate. I want to make sure that, you know, everybody participate for sure, you know. Everyone online that would like to address about open space? No? Okay. I would like to ask for a motion for this.
I'll make
Sam?
the motion. Move to approve the creation of the Residential Open Space Committee and direct Colin Wortman to assist and set up at a cost not to exceed $5,000 and approve 2023 budget amendment number 7 as presented.
Second? Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, motion have made and seconded. Okay. It's a simple majority. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now, this is something that we done it every year, just so you guys are aware. But this is about the chlorine that we, you know, we work with Oakland County and that. Dave, you don't mind come up front for a second?
Your guy?
Yeah, we done this many
I know,
every
but-
year.
Yeah,
It's
well,
something
there's some
we,
changes this year to it.
well, it's the same cost actually, no. Dave, can you
Yeah, the
tell us?
chloride program that we did with Road Commission for Oakland County, we've been doing it exclusively with them since 2013. Went out on our own prior to that. It was a disaster when we did that on our own, so we just joined in with the Road Commission, who's doing it for several other communities on that. It's a great program, keeps the dust down, and it's a lot better than using oil, which, you know, they don't use that anymore. Well, some places don't. I imagine some might do it, but the chloride program is definitely a good one because there is a lot of dirt roads in the township, and it's good money spent to keep the dust down. And no increase for this year. It's just a carryover from last year, which is kind of rare this time and day. You know, kind of rare.
Trustee Morocco.
So with the new rules with Eagle in 2023 saying we can only do it 4 times a year, and we, you know,
May have to only do it 4 times a year. The new rules really with the discharge permitting is because the chemicals they use, it's not really chemical, it's brine. Okay, it's a brine well, it's salt water. So that's exactly what it is. So it's a chloride, but it's a salt water. And with the new rules for the discharge permit, they got to stay 100 feet away from bodies of water. So in some instances, it might only allow 4 applications. So they're very cognizant of the fact that
can you,
they're only
so
doing it.
how does that 100 foot from water, are they gonna stop spraying when they approach the edge of the water along Pine Knob Road and then start spraying again a
I would
quarter
assume
mile
that
down
that's
the road?
exactly the way they're gonna do it.
So there are
you
gonna be
know.
these dry spots now because of this new rule?
It's very possible. You know, like I said, this is, if you look in the board packet on the end, last page right there, let's see. I was reviewing that, and it is from the, their new rules in regards to that. Where's that at? I'm sorry, I apologize. I should have had that right here.
Well, because
But this-
it's no brine within 100 feet of surface water.
Yeah.
And then applications being limited to 4 times a season. And then the other thing that's, you know, they're very vague on is if we're getting 2,000 gallons a mile put down and they're saying the application rate would be reduced significantly, then what are we paying for exactly? What is that, what is all this?
Well, the application, it's, if you read the last sentence of the revised changes that could affect the dust control program.
This is a draft, it's a draft, so
Yeah.
it's not been approved at the state level.
Right.
Okay,
So it could affect that.
What do you, I mean, do you think we're gonna get less quality dust control because Eagles
I would think
sticking
it
their
would be
nose in it?
minimal. And to be absolutely honest with you, I think if there is any, Sam, it'll be very, very minimal. And Because I don't know what their rules are gonna be as far as how the road commission is gonna apply the new change to, with the discharge permit.
Can we ensure that we get the 5, not the 4, for the people that are choking out on the dirt roads like myself?
For instance, is from what I understand on this works, is there's gonna be 5, there might be some that only need 4. For whatever reason, that is the way they interpret the new rule that comes across on here, because this is new to me. So I'll be honest with you. Paul?
Yeah, but this rule hasn't passed yet. This is just a draft.
Correct.
This has no effect right now on us.
Yep.
Well, I know, but we're approving it with the assumption that they're not going to drop the hammer on the whole program and cut us back to 4 and reduce the amount of chloride that we use and, and all of that, which is fine. I'm just, but it's not, if
Yeah.
the state approves this draft, we're gonna get significantly less services than we have in the past.
I wouldn't say-
I'm all for it, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I live on a dirt road and sometimes you can't go outside for days because it's so dusty.
Right.
You literally, it looks like a cloud of smoke and you're breathing all that in, and it's, so I'm all for it. I wanna make sure that we're getting the most treatments and the most dust service that we can afford the township to provide. We just spent millions and millions of dollars on the paved roads for the township, and we're
Sure.
spending $60,000 on the dirt roads. So even when we were talking about the extra money that from the millage, we never got much credit for having the dirt roads be part of maintaining the county roads, as an option with some of that excess too. So
Well-
I'm all for it. I'm just saying, I want to make sure that we're getting the most that we can get for the people that live on the dirt road.
And I think the road commission might have, try to address your concern on there, because on the front page, or the very first page of the road commission letter that's with the board packet, it does say 22-23 annual cost, 4 applications and 5 applications. So as Paul said, this is a draft. If it's enacted, and it does, I believe they will probably modify how much they charge us for that. So we're not gonna pay and not get the service. We're gonna pay for what we get.
Right, I mean, I would
If that
rather.
makes sense,
Yeah, I
if
want
that's
to make
clear.
sure that
Yeah.
we're paying all this money to get all of this service, even if we could get, if they cut us down on the amount
we
of
pay less.
chloride
Then
we
we'll
use
pay
and all
less.
that, could we get 6 treatments a year? Or can we get, to make sure we're not, make sure we at least get 5? I just want to make sure we're not getting less, because it's very annually. Some years, it times out just right. I can only
Okay.
talk about the road frontage in front of my house, where the calcium chloride will go down, the dust is controlled, it hasn't rained in weeks, it actually works, life is good. Or they calcium chloride, and the next morning we have a thunderstorm, it's all gone, and then they don't come back for a month, so it's just a dust bowl for a whole month, because we happen to be the road that got done right before the downpour. So if you're not a dirt road person, you don't understand, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depends on the weather. It even says in this report, if it rains, it ain't gonna work. If it rains, we put it
Mother
down.
Nature
So-
can definitely throw a wrench into the system there. And to be honest with you, road commission, the schedule and when they do it will be on them.
Right.
It's on them. So they just facilitate it and they do it. I think, as Paul mentioned again, it's a draft. They could make it final in October of this year. We don't know, after the season. We don't know.
I would just ask that if there's if they allow more to be done, or the service to be better, that you allow us to, bring us up to speed on it, so that
Sure.
we could have the ability to take advantage of even a better dust system, if that was applicable,
Yeah, it's definitely can't hurt to ask.
Right.
But that would be an individual thing, but it'd be additional cost. But we can look into it. We'll definitely find out.
Trustee Nalamato.
I would also make a suggestion to all of the public that might not be happy with this draft to contact Eagle. Contact the state of Michigan with your concerns. Everybody has a right to call, write a letter, strengthen numbers. So let them know that you'd prefer to keep it the way it was.
That's a good idea.
And that's helpful.
Trustee Ritchie.
Yeah, I think the other thing, what we're really voting on is that we're gonna coordinate the chloride services with the gravel, with the county grading of the gravel roads. That's, I think, really what this MAFE is about, not how many times we do it or whatever. I mean, if we need things done more often or whatever, I guess, we'll address that when the time comes, whatever. But I think the big thing is whenever they do grade the roads, in the chloride, we want it all done together with that. We don't, this is what happened 10 years ago when we tried to separate it and do it ourselves. We could never coordinate getting the road chlorided just, right after it got graded. So it ended up, having, like you're saying, the road deteriorated or, or there was dust for days before the chloride got down or whatever. So this MAFE is really coordinating that we're gonna have that all done as one entity, so.
Okay. All right. Anyone on the public would like to address any concern, any questions? No? Anyone online would like to address any concern, any questions about? No? Okay. A simple majority, so, any member would like to make a motion?
I'll move to waive the township's procurement, petty cash, and credit card policy, section 3, standards for procurement, 3.2, procurement procedures, P-3, purchases and contracts, from $10,001 and up, requiring comparative price quotations, and accept the quote received from the Road Commission for Oakland County, RCOC, to provide the 2023 road chloride services for township gravel roads, which includes 5 applications in an amount not to exceed $60,740.
I'll second.
Motion has made by trustee Alamatu and second by Clerk Newbeck. Simple majority. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Treasurer Brown.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is really just a little cleanup. Our contract that we awarded for tax tribunal, special assessment services, the contract that the board approved omitted a couple of things that were part of their proposal and have existed in prior contracts. And those items are travel expenses related in driving to Lansing when there's litigation and associated expenses with that. Could even include overnight stays if there's a long case. But that was an error on my part when I broke the contracts out into separate contracts versus the prior ones had been a big bulk contract that I left that out. So this is simply amending it to include what was in her proposal that we agreed to accept.
Yeah. Usually this comes from the supervisor. Paul asked me that he's gonna help me, and Ms. Paul offered his help for this, and I said, sure.
And actually, this started before Jose took office, and he's certainly managing a lot right now, and I just said, hey, I'll just finish it up since I kind of messed it up in the first place, so happy to do that.
Okay, trustee Morocco.
Is this only pertains, that's what they do for us as tax tribunal, that's
Tax
all
tribunal,
this?
special assessment, property tax issues, yes. That's all that they do.
Okay, taxes, okay. How often do they go to Lansing?
That would only be when the
debate this.
MTT meets like once a year, or if there's an ongoing case.
We had 5 or 6 cases last year,
Mhm.
I believe, not too many.
Okay.
It was in the contract before. I think what
Yeah.
Paul's saying is that he took it out,
It was in the
mistakenly
contract
took it
before,
out, and he just wants to add it
and
back
it was in
in.
her proposal that we
Right.
accepted. I just,
And it's only specific to doing the property tax assessment legal stuff is what
Yes.
that pertains to, nothing else,
yeah,
okay?
nothing else.
Property tax.
It would not be a significant part of the contract, but they did ask to have it included because it was part of their quote.
And that would make them still competitive to the other quotes?
There's no difference in it, no.
Well, I'm saying if we put it out for bid and their quote came in at so much an hour rate plus extras, and someone else's quote came in at so much an hour rate plus, or no extras, are they still the lower bidder or the competitive bidder with the amendment is what I'm asking, just
So-
for
so,
clarification.
One of the things we did is we had a committee get together to review all the legal contracts.
Right.
We originally were not going to award tax tribunal to this firm.
Okay.
But what we had not done is discussed it with the assessor, who spends significant amount of time working with that individual.
Right.
And in this case, we've got back together at the board's recommendation and heard from the assessor, and we said, yes, we should keep a person whose specialty is, this is all this person does.
Okay.
They only do tax tribunal stuff. That is their practice.
Okay.
And so they're more expensive than the others. But when it comes to doing tax tribunal, it doesn't make sense to use the least expensive. It makes sense to use the one, especially given when you can have very significant developments that are
Right.
appealing values. It can be extremely expensive to not have the best you can get.
No, I get it, and I know there are more. That's why I wanted to make sure we're just talking about the specialty thing is all we're talking
That's it,
about.
yeah.
You know.
None of our other legal professionals are paid for travel time. We don't pay our other lawyers
Okay.
for that.
Any other board members that would like to make a comment, questions? No? Any members of the public that would like to?
I would like to say something.
Sure.
Cheryl Janakis, 8990 Woodlawn Avenue. Thanks for helping us out on this, Paul. But you said that it was omitted in error. Well, the contract was not omitted. It says attorneys will not charge or receive reimbursement for expenses and costs associated with transportation, in-state, travel expenses, mileage, so on and so forth. Another point is the Michigan Tax Tribunal is all done telephonically now. And as far as the Court of Appeals go, your arguments are also done through Zoom. And to elaborate on what Trustee Morocco said, that would not be fair to all the other bidders because she specifically put in here that she would not charge for anything. That would mean that Kelly and he would be able to redo his contract also because there were other bidders in here and they stated they would not charge for any traveling expenses, and there are no traveling expenses unless you may have a big case or whatever. But she specifically stated that there would be none, and that's why they got the bid. So I think that this is wrong, period. If you put a bid out and you say you're gonna do something, and then you turn around and you ask for more, you basically cut out all the other bidders. And there are no travel expenses, and as far as free meals go, I think that's also wrong. Do you pay Carlisle for his meals? Do you pay Kelly for his meals? Maybe we should revisit all of those contracts.
Thank you. Treasurer Brown?
Yeah,
hold
so I just want to answer her questions. The proposals that we received from the legal firms, those were held in confidence, and those were not disclosed publicly, right?
Correct.
So the actual proposals for all those firms were submitted confidentially, and so what you're reading are the contracts that I wrote, not the proposals that they did. You are correct. I'm sorry, I'd like, if I could finish?
Sorry.
Okay.
That's okay, thank you. So, in this particular case, the proposal for this service, she did have in her bid proposal that she would be compensated for reimbursable travel expenses when she had to go to Lansing. Now, I think you're correct. If things are done remotely, there won't be any travel expenses. But that doesn't change the fact that my contract I wrote up disagreed with the proposal we accepted as a board.
I got this online. This was her proposal that you approved, and it said attorneys will not charge or receive reimbursement for expenses and costs associated with transportation.
She's reading
Any
the contract.
trustee can look this up. It was not omitted. It was clearly stated that she would not be compensated for these things. Now you're saying that it was omitted. It was not omitted. I have it in my hand. It came from a packet from the
She does not
trustee.
have their bid, right? No.
Not that I know.
I understand what you're reading, and I'd be happy to look at it with you if you want to stop by my office, but you don't have the proposals. The proposals were not provided to the public. They were remitted confidentially to the township board. And so what you're reading is something that I created, and that's why it's wrong. So I'm happy if you want to come in and look at and let me show you what I'm talking about, but I won't be able to do it remotely with you here, but I certainly want to answer your questions.
So what traveling expenses would she be incurring if everything's done telephonically or by Zoom?
She wouldn't be. There wouldn't be any.
Well, there hasn't been any. So why is this proposal even on the table?
So I'll point out to the board, we have agreed to a proposal from this attorney, and that proposal includes being reimbursed for necessary travel expenses when they occur. I prepared a contract that did not include that, and that needs to be made right. And that's what's in front of us.
Yes, the contract actually stated that they would not be reimbursed, and I do believe that you did write the contract up, but there were other bids.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Anyone from the public? Right. Anyone would like to make a motion?
Yeah. Move to accept the proposal received from Rosati, Schultz, Jopik, and Amsbuehler of Farmington Hills, Michigan for tax tribunal and property tax and assessment-related legal services as presented. Approve the amended agreement between the Charter Township of Independence and Rosati, Schultz, Jopik, and Amsbuehler, PC, to enter into a 2-year fee-based agreement effective January 1st, 2023, with the option to extend the agreement for an additional 1 year upon mutual written consent, and direct the supervisor and clerk to sign the amended agreement as the authorized representatives of the township.
Support.
It's a roll call, but, right. And before we vote, any other questions here?
I just have a quick question, who authorizes the expenditures, just as the checks and balances?
It should come through the supervisor's office.
All invoices go through the supervisor's office with
Okay.
dotted lines to department heads who would have utilized services.
Okay, so Jose would have to approve it,
All the invoices from every attorney will come to me, yes. Because essentially Jennifer and I were looking into, but yes.
and is that done before it happens or after it happens?
You talk about specifically for them?
I'm just saying that if we hire an attorney and we need them to represent us, do you approve them to represent us with the idea of what that would entail prior to them representing us? Or does someone else in the township hire them and you find out after the fact when the bill comes in? How does the procedure work?
Okay, Paul, go ahead.
The township board approved our legal representatives.
Right.
We awarded bids to each of them. We wouldn't use any other legal services without the board authorizing it.
What I'm saying is to say that there's a case that's come up. Somebody's fighting against us on their at the tax tribunal. And they would need to go to Lansing and travel and eat and do whatever. Before we authorize this firm to go who authorizes this firm to then come in and represent us in Lansing and authorize that
The board
the
just,
travel and all that, or, I mean, it can't just be, the attorney's not going to make the decision. Somebody at the township decides that expenditures, that they're approving the expenditure to dispatch the attorney on our behalf to go do it. Who is that person?
The contract indicates matters as requested by the administration or the assessor.
Okay, and is Jose the official assessor of the township, or is Kim Feigley the official assessor of the township?
He is the chief, supervisor is the chief assessor.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Administration, I would assume, would be the 3 officers.
So that, I'm not have a problem with it, I just want to know the process, that it's
Yeah.
not an open check, or that somebody else in the directors dispatching
Well,
someone
so-
out of town, you know, like, what's the
Yeah.
checks and
So on-
balances,
on-
that's
on-
all.
On top of the administrative controls, we also have budgetary controls. So money can't be spent on this stuff if it's not already in the budget.
Well, even if it's in the budget, it doesn't mean I want to just spend the money. My question is that if we need the representation, we would, you guys that work in the township all the time would know that's coming, and that we have a situation, and that we're going to need litigation, and that you're preparing to send an attorney there, and all, like, that would be something the 3 of you would, because it doesn't happen that often, so I would assume it's,
It happens every year for this. She goes to MTT every year.
okay, the MTT, but I'm saying, is there any other defending of us that you would know that in advance if she was going to go to try a case or defend us
Certainly
in
hope so.
Lansing or do something, right? It wouldn't be just,
Yeah.
so basically, the stock thing is that she goes to the MTT that we're paying them to go to that every year, to the tax tribunal. But anything above that, if there was situations, we would know in advance, and it would be approved, that we would need that
Correct.
additional legal counsel above the
Always.
norm, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to, that's.
Yep.
That it wouldn't just happen and then we get the bill, you know, so
No,
that's all. It's because I don't understand it,
Yeah,
so I'm trying to learn.
Administratively, the
You know?
supervisor would always
Yeah.
be in the loop on that, and he would usually involve Carrie and I.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
And
but,
sometimes even
No.
we go to a closed session for things too.
well, sometimes, but Kim Finley reports directly to me, directly to me.
That's correct.
That,
Yeah.
Kim Finley
Okay,
report
all right.
directly to me, but I have a question now. Is someone from the Rosati Shoe and Jumpets here in the audience that maybe can tell us? No?
No,
right?
I didn't request him to be here, I was
Oh.
simply amending, we already awarded him the contract. It's missing something that is significantly, it's almost insignificant. We may be
Oh.
talking about a few $100s of expenses a year. It's not a significant, we're not talking about a significant expense that's changed here. It just wasn't, we didn't match the proposal we approved, and I just needed to fix that, so.
Yeah, no, I understand. He was asking, because usually, you know, when we had a contract, some of the people would show up and, you know, explain the work or something, that's all.
Right, this is
That's
just an amendment to something we already agreed to, though, so
Yes, Trustee Lamato.
To ease their mind,
Yeah.
maybe you know, or maybe you can answer, I think there's legal limits. Like, they can't just go get a big steak dinner. It's usually like, what, $25 a day for meals or something usually. When you go to your accountant, he can tell you that. I mean, there is a maximum. They can't just go and, you know, go to a $300 meal. It's, usually you're given like maybe $25 a day or something. So it isn't extravagant, and it shouldn't be very often. But if it was omitted, it should be put there. Paul admitted it was a mistake, and this was voted on, what, back in October we did it? I forgot when that was.
late.
But they were already approved, so he admits this was an error, and I think we should just follow through with what we told them we would do.
Sure, no, and I understand it was a very good questions, some comments for everybody here. So, Paul, so helping this language, so basically, with this language, Kim Finley, if she called the lawyer and wants some service, you have to also let me know about this, I have to approve this before we get the services from the attorney, right?
I would say no, so, because I don't believe you want the expectation that every time she's gotta call the attorney to ask her a question, she's gonna get permission for it.
Okay.
Because she'd be on, I mean, people call the attorneys because we've hired them to handle this stuff.
Okay,
And the board is essentially approving the hourly rate for this with the professionals that are gonna do this work. They don't come back and sort of rebid or say, well, are we gonna allow them to spend money this week? You know, there are legal professionals and certainly our directors wouldn't be no, listen, if it's a big case, we always find out anyways. We know that.
Right.
And even as the administration, we would come before the board and go into a closed session, which we have done multiple times, when there was anything that was gonna be of significance from a legal standpoint. I just think this thing's blowing up, and I can't understand why, because if I could finish.
Sure.
This is the same contract that we've had with this firm for multiple years. No one has ever seen any significant meals and entertainment or whatever travel expenses even requested. And if they are, it's probably less than 1% of their invoice. It's almost not material. But I didn't do it right. And the board has already approved the contract. And so I'm a little confused it's like we're going down a different path. And I have no problem if the board wants to have a conference about how we utilize our legal services. I don't have a problem with that. It's just not on the agenda tonight.
I fully understand what you're doing. It's not that I have a problem with it. I just want to be clear about things. As far as what Terry said, I don't think there's any caps on what they're doing. Like when we send a township employee, we tell them exactly to the penny how much you get for dinner, how much you get for lunch, what your hotel room's going to be. I mean, it's 25. This doesn't have any caps. I would assume that if they want to do business with us, they're not going to abuse it. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a cap on it. It's not like when we do it and a director sends an employee on a thing, we're down to the penny of what we get them to spend. But I get what you're saying. It's a clerical thing. I just want to, I'm not familiar with it, so I had a bunch of questions about it.
problem.
Not that I'm trying to
No
derail
problem.
it. I'm just, wanted to know about it.
Yeah. Same here, that's all. All right.
So I think we're at roll call.
Yeah, we're on roll call right now. Motion has made, it's second, it's just waiting for roll call.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Brown?
Yes?
Trustee Morocco?
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu? Yes. Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Trustee Stoyan?
Yes.
Supervisor Aliaga?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Next one. This is about the grant writer that I have been talking about before with all of you. My intent with this is to expedite, to be able to reach more grants for our departments. As you see, the federal government, the state government, Oakland County, they have several grants that are available for many of the departments, for Parks and Rec, for DPW. I find out even possible for the police, for the fire department, for every department. So one of the problems that our directors faces when we apply for those grants are time sensitive. And it's important to have in the house a grant writer that will help to write the grants professionally, well done, because sometimes we will lose and we will get disqualified if we don't submit on time. Some of the things that requirements and having a grant writer with experience will help to actually do this really well. A lot of communities, a lot of townships always apply for grants. And most of them have to hire some companies, outsources to be able to get a grant writer. Having a grant writer here in the township working for us is gonna help us a lot, and we'll be able to reach some money. Now, how grant money works is not because we apply today, doesn't mean we're gonna get it tomorrow. Sometimes takes several months or maybe 1 year or 1 year and a half, because they're gonna tell us, we got a grant, we got award the grant, and it takes time until we get this money. But it's significant amount of money, a very substantial amount of money. That's gonna help us a lot in future projects for a lot of the ideas that many directors wanna work out. It's basically, I don't like to say free money, but it's free money. It's money that's coming in. And one of I believe the what is missing is having a grant writer. That's why I presented this tonight. We look other communities, how much other communities are offering for a grant writer, and we come up with, we pay up to $60,000 to hire a grant writer, to have someone working for not just the supervisor directly, but for all the departments. That way, every single director will have the number directly to work with this grant writer, will report to me, and this idea is just a way to get more money for the township. And I think it's gonna work. I really have a lot of faith that this is a good thing, and it will help the community a lot. I open now for discussion. Yes, Trustee Stunning.
Until now, who's been writing the grants typically?
Far as I know, we were hiring companies. Each department, we have a company they call and.
Okay, so
yeah.
it's been paid for always. It's just
Yeah,
that specific
always.
person.
They have to figure out on their own. DPW or Parks and Rec have to figure out who they're gonna hire. Sometimes it's a engineer company and thing.
Didn't Jennifer from Parks and Rec write a grant that we just got?
I don't know if she did it or she used
No,
somebody else.
she wrote it.
Okay. Yeah.
He's right, we've used outside service, but employees also write grants from time to time,
Okay.
especially in Parks and Rec, because they've had significant opportunities and over the years have done some of those themselves.
And as far as the workload that this grant writer would have, is there a workload that would support 40 hours a week?
Oh, yeah.
Always? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a lot of grants.
it's a
today.
lot of grants. We have a meeting. I
You couldn't
brought
write enough.
Congresswoman Lisa McLean, who represents this area, Independence Township. She told me about the huge amount of grants that are up there. And sometimes some people don't apply because they don't know those grants are in Washington. So we have a meeting. It was one of her representatives from the district. Her name is Eva. She came and meet with most of the directors, and she told us that it's a lot of grants, and her office will help us to identify what grants are there for DPW, for Parks and Rec, for fire, for police. Currently, we're looking something for police as well. But she told us we need a very good, a professional grant writer. And I said, okay, we probably need to hire somebody to be able to cover that need.
Okay.
But this person will work for all the departments, with everybody, not just for me. It's gonna work for all the departments. And I think that will expedite to get some grants, and hopefully in 2024, this position will pay itself. I believe this position will pay itself. Easily, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, it's
Many times
millions
over,
of dollars out there.
10 times over.
Trustina Lamato and I even meet with SYNCOP. It's another organization that told us several grants for Parks and Recs. And Terry, you were in the meeting, remember? Told us about the grants and the significance of how much money we can get. But this position is vital for us, very important, because it's gonna help us. Because next time, our directors don't need to figure out who to call. They already know who to call and bam, go and apply it. Yes, Treasurer
And this
Brown.
is a contracted position, so
Yeah,
we're not hiring a person, it's gonna be put out as a contract.
Okay.
yeah,
So it's not gonna be an employee.
yeah. It's
There'll be a 1099.
1099, yeah. 1099, no benefits. Just Trustee Morocco.
I've heard about it for a while. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, if you, now that seeing what kind of grant money we're getting, where it's, 300,000 here, crazy amounts of money. I mean, certainly easy to pay for itself. Also, from the DDA's point of view, we're gonna definitely to do the DDA on Dixie Highway, we're gonna need some grant money to back up our money, and the DDA. So I'm not sure how you're figuring, how the budget, how you guys are gonna divvy up the budgets of whose budget goes towards the person. So, that's probably a dialogue that'll need to happen, because if the DDA would have money to pay a grant writer to write grants for the DDA, so the DDA could kick in money to this fund, and then so could the DPW, and so could the Sheriff's Department, and so it would be, the person's job would be funded basically by all different means. Like the DDA money wouldn't be using the regular general fund money to pay them. That's money coming from a different place. So I don't think that we would, that we would be using all of it. All of that money wouldn't really be money that we're just doling out to the grant writer. We'd have other ways of funding even the grant writer to get us more money. So it just seems like what you got to do to be successful right now, because everything's got to be matched with money or large amounts of money that they're giving away, and we need to capture that, and we're missing out on those opportunities. And the open space would be another one where there would be grants available if we want to do a piece of property. you know, or something. So without the grant writer, we're really at a disadvantage of trying to advance
We're
what we're
missing out on
doing.
these
We're
op-
missing out a lot of opportunities.
We're missing on them because people don't have the time to
Right.
spearhead it,
Right.
essentially. Okay.
Yeah,
And you got to know how to do it. It's
Right,
yeah.
right.
legal mumbo jumbo, you know.
Yeah, and currently, without having right now, Grand Ray, we got lucky and we have directors very dedicated and working hard, and we got some money, some grant money was good. But when I talked to them, they gave an address to me and told me, Jose, if we got somebody in the house, that we expect to maybe multiply by 3 or 4 to get more money. And that will help a lot our community, yeah.
Jose?
Yes. Yes.
I do agree. I think it will be a great asset for the township, and I think, just to reiterate on what trustee Morocco said, the billing can come in on what projects they worked for, or were working on towards grants, so we can help to allocate and track the time and the money for reimbursement, as he said, like for DDA and things like that, so that could be structured. Just wondered, is this something you're gonna post? Are you advertising, or how are we going about to find this person? Or do you already have someone, or what's?
No, yeah, we're gonna first approve it tonight, and after we approve it, I would like to probably post it and start
Okay.
working on it, yes. And obviously is, we were talking about the job description, it's gonna be somebody that have also experience with federal grants. Because when I have that meeting with Lisa McLean Group and that question, Dave McKee, our Director of Public Works, he asked that question, what characteristic we need in that grant writer to reach federal grants, because our main goal will be try to reach as much federal grants possible. So, but we're gonna post this, and then we're gonna look for the right candidate for this position. Trustee Richie.
Yeah, just, I guess one more comment on just the position itself, is that being a contract position and a new position, it's you know, I think it's needed, and I think it can be expanded as we go. But also, if we get into it a year or two from now and we think it's not, you know, paying off, or whatever, it's one of those things when you're doing the budget, you know, it's like, hey, you know, we think this needs to be modified or eliminated or whatever, so. So I mean, it's one of those things, you know, it's kind of like the open space. It's like, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's take a few steps down the path and see what's happening and go from there. So.
Right, and I agree 100% with you, Ron, and that's why when I talked to Paul and Carrie about this before, we agree we have to be 1099 to see it's working. And if this person is able to bring so much money, because we're looking at, our goal is to see how much money, he brings several millions of dollars, if we pay himself, you know, and then maybe I have a feeling, a good faith that this is gonna work great, it's gonna come a lot of money, and it will pay itself. I'd be really surprised if that doesn't work, but I'm very optimistic about this. Any other questions? Any question for the public? No? No? Okay. Anyone on online that would like to address to the board regarding this proposal? Anyone online that would like to say anything, any comment, any concern, any question? Please, online?
Anybody there?
No? Okay, this is simple majority, I need a
I'd
motion.
like a motion to
Yeah.
move to approve the 2023 budget amendment number 5 as presented.
Second?
Motion made by trustee Morocco and seconded by clerk Newbeck. It's a simple majority, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you guys, appreciate that. Okay. Oh, we have a closed session, okay. We have to go for a closed session, and I need a motion.
Make a motion to enter into closed session to discuss a confidential legal opinion pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268H and MCL 15.2431G at 7:30 PM.
Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We didn't take any action. We are coming from closed session, and now we,
I'd like to make a motion to return from closed session and to resume the regular meeting at 8:06.
Support.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Communications, future agenda items. We have the fire department monthly report from December 2022. Report of building department monthly report, February 2023. Minutes, the downtown development authority from January 2023. And minutes from the video center administrative board, November 2022. Now we, moving on, board members and comments. Any board members and comments?
Just one, we have the DDA meeting tomorrow night for anyone that's interested in following along and watching. And then I'd like to reiterate that anyone interested in the open space board, contact the clerk's office.
Yeah, that's right. And they can actually put in the application online. They can go to our website, Independence Township website. You can Google it, and then you can find the application and fill it out for, not just for the DDA. We have a lot of positions besides this new community. We have so many other positions, you know, Parks and Rec and other board committees, and people can serve. And we always welcome new members of the community, residents for input and, you know, participate, be part of the community. We always welcome people, for sure. Any other comments? No? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.